Hello everyone, welcome to another video. And in this video, we are going to discuss chapter number 17 from the book Psychology of Money, written by Morgan Housel. And in this chapter, we are going to talk about pessimism. But before we talk about pessimism, let's look at optimism. So, usually, optimism is the best bet for most of the people because the world usually gets better for most of the people most of the times. And the thing is, uh, pessimism actually holds a special place in our hearts. And the reason is, it sounds smarter when we are talking about pessimism. It's intellectually more captivating and it gets more attention than optimism. But if you were to define optimism, how would we go on about that? So we can say optimism is the belief that the odds of good outcomes are in your favor over time, even when there will be a few setbacks along the way. And now we are going to look at the sibling of optimism, which is pessimism. So on December 29, 2008, this was the end of a very tough financial year. The stock market had a big collapse all over the world. The financial system was literally on life support, and the unemployment was also on the rise. It was the biggest number in a long, long time. And at the end of the year, people were actually hoping that things will start to turn out to be better. They were hoping that they have already seen the worst of the financial market. But during that time, a well-reputed journal, which we all know, Wall Street Journal, they issued an article on the front page that was written by a Russian named Igor Panarin, and his the content of the article can actually rival any sci-fi story actually. So what he said that in 2010 the US will basically be disintegrated. Disintegrated in the sense that a lot of states in the US will be independent. They will not be part of the United States of America. Um, and some of the states will probably join other countries like Texas joining Mexico, and then some of the territories of the U.S., for example, like Hawaii, that will be taken over by either China or Japan. So this is what was published in a well-reputed journal, Wall Street Journal. So as you can see that this is very dramatic. This proposition in itself is very dramatic, right? But the thing is, and it's very pessimistic as well. But the thing is, the polar opposite of this story, that would be a story full of optimism, of outrageous optimism. That one will be not taken as seriously as the one that we have just talked about. Now, let's take a look at Japan after World War II. So, as we all know, Japan was gutted by the defeat in World War II, and they were actually destroyed basically, economically, industrially, socially, and also culturally. And later in the 1940s, they also had a famine where where most of the people could not take more than 800 calories in their diet. But at that time, if someone was to propose that in the coming years their economy will grow 15 times, their life expectancy will double, their stock market will make returns like the ones that has never been seen before. There will be practically no employment for 40 years, and they will progress so much in terms of technology that they will be leaders in developing electronics. And also, their corporate managerial system will also be one of the best in the world. And US, who was actually fighting against them in the World War II, will also be their ally, and not only an ally, but they will also be learning from their progress, from their economic progress and innovation. If someone had proposed that, then they would be basically laughed out of the room. And some people might even propose for a medical checkup for that person. So the thing is, if you tell someone that things are going to be great, then they will probably they will probably shrug you off, and they will also probably give you a skeptical eye, right? But if you tell them that they're going to be in danger, then you will have their undivided attention. And let's say, for example, a smart person comes to you and they propose you that they know about the stock, or they have invested in a stock that's gonna go 10 times in the next year. You would say that this person is basically all nonsense, right? But if a person comes to you full of nonsense, and they tell you that the company that you have invested in, it's actually going to go down because they're involved in accounting fraud, right? Then what you will do, you will basically you will clear out your calendars, and then you will listen to every word they have to say, right? Uh, and if you were to give another example, let's say if you if you say that there's going to be a major depression in the coming months or years, then you will probably get a spot on the TV. But if you are going to say that things are going to get better, or the market will give you stable returns over the next few years, then people will basically shrug you off, and they will also kind of like um, think that you are not aware of the risks in financial investing. And that has been the common thing when it comes to financial newsletter companies, the companies that publish articles on finance and stock markets. Uh, so they actually know about this thing, that pessimism sells more than optimism. And they have they have actually capitalized on on this idea. And if you look at their newsletters, they're basically filled with doomsday prophecies, right? But in reality, the stock market has actually gone 17,000 folds high in the last century. And this is not just common in finance. This is also a very common thing when it comes to like daily life. So the author Hans Rosling actually wrote in his book Factfulness um, that every group of people he asks, they say that the world is getting more frightening, it's more violent, and more hopeless. So, in short, what they're saying that it is more dramatic than it really is actually. But if you stop and realize that how much progress humans have made in a lifetime, like when it comes to economic stability, when it comes to medical breakthroughs in terms of social equality, then you would think that optimism should probably get more attention than pessimism. But that is not the case. Um, so, to end this video, there is a quote from John Stewart, which basically tells us that this is not something new. This concept has been there. This preference for pessimism has been there since for a long time. So he wrote in 1840 that I have observed that not the man who hopes when other despairs, but the man who despairs when other hope is admired by a large class of persons as a sage. So the question that we should ask ourselves now is why it is like this. Why do people actually give more attention to pessimism than rather than optimism? And that is something that we will discuss in the next video. Hopefully you learned something in this short video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.